Cyclops.
Yes. This
Very
is
important.
always an important skill, especially when you teach 1st through 8th grade. All right, so now I did this with the line tool. These are lines, and if I try to fill one of these things, because they're lines, they're not shapes. Shapes indicate a closed form that is a continuous loop. You can see there's no line at the bottom there. And if I want to see this whole thing as one fill, I can select all the lines, selecting all the lines, and I'm going to come over here. There is a strange tool. I feel like I showed this, but maybe I didn't. This is called the LivePaint bucket. Didn't I show you this? LivePaint? Now it has converted itself from lines into what is known as LivePaint. S is for swatches, but that's under color. Color, reading, swatches there. Okay, so there's my swatches. And I want to fill this guy's head with blue. And now when I click in here, it actually is going to convert it to a LivePaint group. It's saying it might mess it up, but it's not going to mess it up. It's doing exactly what I wanted. So now it lets me fill it like this. But you're like, what happened to those groovy lines you had there?
How did it pick up the eyeballs? Because you just clicked one button.
Because it's sealed.
Gotcha.
It's cordoned off. All of this area is open. It filled up to the lips. And that was one fluid area and this is cordoned off, right? It was like that a second ago. And it was that a moment ago. So it's such a trippy little thing here. Bucket, color.
So where was that again?
It's this tool here. Okay. Shape, builder, LivePaint bucket, LivePaint selection tool. So I'm using the LivePaint bucket, and as soon as I start using this, it changes the modality of the work into this LivePaint modality. So if I zoom, and I want to paint this little corner here with the same pink. I want to put it here. It's got a little tiny bucket, and I click in there. That should be okay. If I sample this color, I is for eyedropper. That's going to sample this color, and then I go back to the bucket, and I click here. It does not see that as part of the group because it's outside the original selection, and now it's going to tell me, you know, I have to make this into a group, but it can't because this is not closed. It's going to be in a recursive loop forever. It's never going to fix that. So to fix that, I switch back to the white arrow tool known as the direct selection tool and click right on that point and then snap that point to here and sundry other fixes. And then this is modern art again. Back to the fill. And make sure I have the correct color. I don't. I for eyedropper. And then, what the heck? Pick the color. So this is a really good example of why you want to save your colors. This is now filled with that. I does not want to fill with that. There. See, what I'm doing now is I'm pressing the arrow key and I'm making sure something's in the bucket. There we go. So I'll zoom out, Command minus. And all of the line quality, I want to fix all that line quality. I usually do that at the end. So I'll do one more fill and then I'll stop. So I'll go to the LivePaint again. I can see it's right now the center choice is none. So it's going to fill with none. I don't want that. I'm using the arrow keys and see how it's toggling through the colors. And I'm filling the top and the bottom with the light blue. And then again, I can press the arrow key and the center swatch in the middle of those three swatches is the current color. Now I have a light green. And, or I can just choose a color. Finally, I'll zoom out, Command minus. I probably would want to fill these shapes with white. I'm not going to do that right now, but I'll select, and you can see they're at 1 point. Now they're at 2 point. Now the lines are at 3 point. If I click away, now they're back to 2 points. And if I want to make the outside line the thickest line, I'll need to use the direct selection tool, and it's not showing it as a selected line. You can see it's just giving me like handles, anchor point. It's freaked out. It does not know how to handle that. So I put stroke to the front, and you still don't see a stroke width. That is because if you're using this tool, you need to use the LivePaint selection tool to truly select these elements that are no longer regular vectors, they're LivePaint vectors. And now it's showing, check it out, there's the thickness value, and I can just change that one. So it will not really truly select with the regular selection tool. With the regular sub-selection, direct selection tool, no, doesn't work. Have to use this one, LivePaint selection tool, and click, and that is how that works. So that is the answer to the weird trick fills question. It's LivePaint. Any questions?